Welcome into Celtics today. I am Will Scott. Happy Friday to you all. We appreciate you watching today's show. And before we get into today's show, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I'm told by my bosses that we got to get to 13,500 subscribers by the end of this month to avoid going into sub-only mode. And I don't want to do that in the middle of the playoffs because you got the playoffs going on. We want everybody to have access to our channel. So help us reach that next milestone by the end of the month. If you're all about the C's, hit that subscribe button below. Want to shout out our guy, Malcolm Brogdon. He was named 6th Man of the Year yesterday, taking home that award. Certainly well-deserved for Malcolm Brogdon after a stellar first season with the Boston Celtics. Got traded from Indiana in the offseason. 14.9 points per game this year, 3.7 assists per game, 48.4% from the field, 44.4% from three, the highest on the Celtics this year. And I think we all saw this coming. And no, I don't mean before that award was announced yesterday. I think we all saw this coming before the season. Malcolm Brogdon has been a starter much of his career, and a good starter at that. And he took kind of a bench role with the Celtics when that trade happened. So I think we all knew that he was probably going to win 6th Man of the Year. It's so well-deserved. I mean, Malcolm Brogdon, could have had an attitude about coming off the bench. He could have said, yeah, I'm too good to be coming off the bench. I might be better than Marcus Smart shooting the ball. Why am I coming off the bench? But he didn't have that attitude at all. Ever since his introductory press conference with the Celtics last July, he said, I'm going to be open to whatever role in this team. If I have to come off the bench, that's fine. I just want to contribute, and I want to win. And that's all Malcolm Brogdon has cared about since day one, is winning. Got to respect Malcolm Brogdon for that. A lot of guys would have had a bad attitude about coming off the bench. Instead, he poured his heart and soul into this team this year, was a huge part of this team, huge part of the success of this team. Now he's the NBA 6th Man of the Year. So shout out to Malcolm Brogdon, man. Gotta love Brogdon. Show some love to our guy number 13 by typing 13 down in the comments section. Go and show some love to the 6th Man of the Year, Malcolm Brogdon, by typing 13 for number 13 down in the comments section. Looking forward to watching Brogdon tonight as the Celtics are on the road facing the Atlanta Hawks in Game 3 of Round 1. Going to be tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time from State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Celtics are a 5-point favorite. I do like the value there. The total is at 229, and I should say 229.0. Taking a look at the series thus far, the Celtics have taken care of business, and they've done so rather easily. Game 1, not even close at any point. Celtics winning that 112-99, and then Game 2, the Celtics winning by 13 points. They were in control really from the second quarter on. And to be honest, I really expect more of the same here tonight. Next, I'm going to get into my keys to victory for tonight's game. But first, I want to tell Celtics fans about an exciting way to get involved with Game 3. That is by playing fantasy sports with Underdog Fantasy, the easiest and fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Build a pick'em entry by choosing whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game, and you could win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Sign up today with promo code CHATBOS and get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Just visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. Remember to use our promo code to claim your bonus. I'm fired up to submit my picks tonight with Underdog Fantasy. Jaylen Brown going home to Atlanta for this big game, and I think he does have a big game. I have him going higher than 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And then this has to be an absolute steal. Malcolm Brogdon, 1.5 three-pointers made, going to take higher than that. And then Trae Young actually going to take lower than 4.5 turnovers for him. I know that's about what he averages, but big game for the Hawks. I don't think he's going to be turning the ball over that many times. $10 to win 60. Think that's great value with Underdog Fantasy. Again, a 100% match with ChatBOS. Got to put in that promo code, though. That promo code and the link in the comments and the description of today's video. Go and make your picks with Underdog Fantasy. As we now get into my keys to victory for tonight's game. The number one key, getting offensive rebounds. And yeah, the Celtics won Game 2, but that's not something they were able to do in that game. In Game 2, the Hawks had 19 offensive rebounds, The Celtics had 5. Celtics still won the game by 13, but still, you cannot allow the Hawks to do that to you on the offensive glass yet again. If they do that again tonight, they might get back in the series, get offensive boards, control the offensive glass. Number 2 key to victory is take the crowd out of this game. It's going to be loud in Atlanta tonight. They're going to be relying on their crowd to create a hectic environment for the Celtics. Take the crowd out of the game and do so early. Get ahead early, because if the Celtics get behind early and the Hawks are thinking, okay, we can make this a 2-1 series, that completely changes the dynamic of the series. Take the crowd out of this game. How do you do that? Probably by defending the 3. And DeJounte Murray had a good game shooting the ball in Game 2. He was 7 of 13 from three-point range in Game 2. So you allow Murray to shoot over 50% from 3 in Game 2, and that's something the Hawks did better in the second game than they did in the first game. They just shot 17% from 3 in Game 1. That changed a little bit in Game 2. Trae Young didn't get that involved from distance, but Murray certainly did. So defend the 3, because the Hawks, when they get hot, are tough to slow down. Number 4 is Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown is the key for the Celtics. Yeah, you could say Tatum as well, but I think Jaylen Brown, as I said earlier with Underdog Fantasy, is in for a big game tonight. Here's what he did in Game 2. 18 points, a little bit low for JB. 3 rebounds, 7 of 14 shooting, 2 of 4 from three-point range. So he just took 14 shots, and he just attempted 4 three-pointers. I want to see more shot attempts from Jaylen Brown here tonight. Number 5, this matchup. Robert Williams III against Clint Capela. Who's going to win that matchup? And that kind of takes me back here to my number 1 key to victory. Get offensive rebounds. Want to see Robert Williams kind of go off tonight against Clint Capela. Capela's a tough matchup, but I think Robert Williams is going to have a good game tonight. Who do you got? Type BOS for the C's or ATL for the Atlanta Hawks. Who do you have in Game 3 tonight? Let me know down in the comments section. I'm taking the Boston Celtics. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Atlanta understands that their season's on the line tonight. If they go down 3-0, this series is over. We've never seen a 3-0 comeback in NBA history. So if the Celtics can just win this game tonight, I think the series is over. If it goes back to Boston or not, I'm not sure. But I have the Celtics winning this game 108-101 against the Atlanta Hawks. I'm going to stick with what I said before this series, and that is Celtics in 4. Now let's get into some rumors. Could the former Boston Celtics head coach be heading to the Toronto Raptors? Shams Charania tweeted this out this morning. Some breaking news. The Toronto Raptors have fired coach Nick Nurse, sources tell The Athletic. Look, I'm not surprised that Nurse is leaving Toronto, but straight up firing him is freaking crazy. I thought Nurse might resign. I thought there might be a mutual parting of ways. But to fire the coach that won you your first ever NBA title is wild. And I understand the Raptors kind of underachieved this year. They didn't even make the playoffs. They were the 9 seed in the play-in tournament. But to fire the guy that won you a title not too long ago, man, is just crazy to me. And then we're hearing that Masai Ujiri might be Washington-bound potentially, or at least that the Wizards have interest in Masai. So we'll see what happens. But Nick Nurse is out of Toronto, might be headed to Houston, actually. So there is a vacancy in Toronto. Who could fill that vacancy? Woj has an idea. Former Celtics coach Ime Udoka is expected to be a serious candidate to replace Nurse, sources tell ESPN. Now, this is worth noting. Ime Udoka is no longer employed by the Boston Celtics, right? Because when the Nets were interested in hiring Udoka earlier this year, it didn't happen. They obviously went with Jacques Vaughn, which is probably the right call. But Udoka was still under contract with the Celtics. He was still employed. So the Celtics could have potentially traded Udoka to Brooklyn or an interested team. That is not going to happen now because when the Celtics promoted Joe Mazzulla to permanent head coach during the All-Star break, they let go of Udoka. He's no longer under contract. There's going to be no compensation that the Celtics receive if Udoka is hired by the Raptors or another team. It also is reported he has a second interview with Houston Rockets. So I just wanted to make note of that. And look, Udoka was a good coach for the Celtics. We were obviously shocked by the way things ended after leading the Celtics to an NBA Finals appearance in his first season as the head coach. But in the end, it worked out for Boston. You got Joe Mazzulla as your head coach, and when Mazzulla was promoted, we really didn't know much about him. We knew he was a Celtics assistant the last couple of years, but he wasn't even the top assistant. That was Will Hardy, who was the top assistant, who was ultimately hired by the Jazz before Udoka was suspended. But Joe Mazzulla is the guy. I think Joe Mazzulla is going to be the guy that gets the Celtics to banner number 18, and I do believe that is going to happen this summer. What is your confidence level in Joe Mazzulla? Mazzulla ball, you got to love it, right? Scale it 1 to 10. I think this continues to go up for me. And look, I understand that the Celtics had somewhat of an underwhelming stretch after the All-Star break, and they fell from the 1 seed to the 2 seed. But this, in my opinion at least, is still the best team in the NBA, and I think they're going to win the NBA title under Joe Mazzulla. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to continue to have you covered with Celtics news and rumors during the NBA playoffs.